Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's a chess show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and today we have guests, Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me on again. Hello from Smoky Buffalo.
It's our pleasure, and of course, Jim Eat from Eat Foundation. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you, Sasha.
Great to have you as always, and hopefully we'll have Nick Poliveda later on to discuss some legal news in the chess world. Actually, why don't we start with right there?
Right.
Nick, what do you have to announce?
Well, it looks like the case against Chess.com, Play Magnus, and the lawsuit against everybody in the world was dismissed. So, which was actually, from my standpoint, it was not a surprise, because when I looked at the original complaint, it had a lot of jurisdictional issues. In other words, theoretically, you're supposed to sue where the defendant resides. Otherwise, people would jump up and say, I'm going to sue you, and I'll go down to my local courthouse and file a suit against you. And it encourages, unfortunately, Sasha, encourages litigation, because you just go, hey, I'm going to sue you even though you're in Canada. I'm going to sue you here in North Carolina. Well, you can't do that. One of the first rules you learn in legal practice is jurisdiction is where the defendant resides, cause of action occurred, or agreement by the parties. Well, there was no agreement by the parties. The cause of action, where did it occur? Which is probably their only argument. The defendant, one of them resides in Norway, I believe. The other resides in Utah, at least when I looked up the company chess.com, Utah, and they filed suit in Missouri. Big problem. Okay, problem number one. Problem number two that they had, federal district court jurisdiction. How do they even invoke it? Well, the plaintiff attorneys attempted to invoke it based on the antitrust case, because antitrust is a federal cause of action. All the other causes of action are state law actions, such as defamation. So here they tried to invoke the federal court in Missouri using antitrust as the thing to invoke it. Well, that got thrown out. And rightfully so, because, as they said, the plaintiff alleged no facts of antitrust. In other words, antitrust means chess.com has an iron grip monopoly over the chess world. Now, the last time I looked, Jim, there's this group called FIDE or something like that. From my understanding, they're not owned by chess.com. And so to create antitrust, you have to show this iron grip over. Well, there wasn't any. So when they dismissed the antitrust case, the federal court goes, well, we don't have any jurisdiction over the other issues. Goodbye. If you read it real carefully, the antitrust was dismissed with prejudice, which means they can't refile the case. It's over, buddy. You just got thrown out of court. The other ones were dismissed without prejudice, which means they could refile in a state court or another court and relitigate all these claims. So it was interesting to see some of the commentators say, we won. Well, come on, man. No, you won so far. I wouldn't go so far to say you won everything, because it was dismissed without prejudice, which means the attorney can refile, but probably has to file in Norway or file in Utah. And if you look through the whole case, because I read all the stuff, you notice a lot of the attorneys were admitted what they call pro hac vice, which in English means I'm not admitted to practice in Missouri. These are the New York attorneys. Okay, I'm not admitted to practice in Missouri, so I'm going to ask a local attorney to admit me to practice in that state. And they call it pro hac vice. So what the New York attorneys did was line up a bunch of local attorneys to get them admitted to practice in Missouri for this case only. In other words, they can't just try a lot of cases because it's not part of the Missouri bar. And that was just basically, I hate to say it, Sasha, a waste of, obviously looking back, a waste of time and money. So the key question, the chess move on the chessboard right now, which is one reason I like speed chess and regular tournaments, you think, than playing law. Because if you play law, it's like playing postal chess in a slow version, okay? Because you make a move, you wait 20 days, you wait another 30 days. They make a move, you wait another 30 days. A year, or in one of my cases, 10 years later, you get a result. I mean, that's kind of the way it is with this particular case. I'm not sure, because it's a psychological effect when you have your case dismissed, whether or not the plaintiff's attorneys are probably taking it on a contingent basis. The defense attorneys with Latham Watkins, which our firm litigated against years ago down in Palm Beach County, which is a good firm, no question about it. John White was eventually the guy we litigated against on Latham, became head of the Florida Bar Association. Then he passed away, but they're a good firm, and they put up a good defense, doing all the things that they should do, which is basically get the case dismissed on jurisdictional grounds. The merits of the case have yet to be heard and may never be heard, because the real problem is, do the plaintiff's attorneys and the plaintiff have enough oomph to want to go refile in possibly Utah and Norway and then try to consolidate the cases, which is going to be time consuming, expensive. If they're taking it on a contingent fee, in other words, we get a percentage of winnings, but we don't get paid unless we win, that it makes it real difficult. They're probably going to have to reassess the merits of the case, because then even if they got into the court case, then they got to prove malice as part of defamation, which has always been a real hard problem, except lately, probably the reason they filed lately, the defamation and malice, the courts have been very lenient on allowing defamations to take place, which we've seen in Connecticut. And we've also seen in some other cases with Johnny Depp. But they're not always going to be that way. So proving malice is going to be difficult. And then you've got to prove damages. Now, they threw out $100 million. Okay. I've been down these rabbit holes before, right? You throw out the $100 million because it makes you feel good. But in reality, show me the chess player who's made $100 million, other than the guy who owns chess.com, okay, that's made $100 million playing chess. Okay, now Ken may have made it because he's a really good player when I was playing years ago. Or maybe Jim, because he wrote that wonderful book, Chess for Dummies. But the general player out there, even the grandmaster, doesn't come close to $100 million per claim. So when you prove damages, you got to show, hey, look, I've been damaged $100 million. Really? If you're the top player in the world and you played forever, you're still not making $100 million. So they got, like I said, when I look through it, I go, guys, you got a lot of issues. It's a great publicity stunt, but other than that, you cannot be serious.
I would like to mention, you're right. Under the circumstances, even if they will refile, I don't think that $100 million will ever be even pronounced. So it would be a much lesser amount. I would estimate probably 20 million as a maximum, maybe less. Maybe it's only 10 or so. But another possibility of financing this venture, I think I forgot to mention possibility of some individuals who are not big fans of Carlson and Company may actually finance the lawsuit, and it could be Rex Zinfield, for example, whom Carlson cut by refusing participating in Grand Chess Tour several years ago and keeping this Norwegian tournament as a standalone venture, not joining Grand Chess Tour. At that time, Grand Chess Tour had a very good prospects of actually becoming an official Wimbledon of chess, and because of Carlson, it didn't happen, and probably will never happen now. So there could be some possibilities. I don't think that Rex Zinfield is just alone. I think there will be a few others who will possibly.
But just because you don't like somebody, do you want to spend the rest of your life in court? Okay, you know what I mean.
Hold on. Rex Zinfield doesn't have to spend even 5 minutes in court at all. All he'll provide maybe a combination of contingency and some payments make available by him, and he can let it go for next. He's 85 possibly now, so for quite a few years yet. Yes, please.
Yes. So I was just say two things. One, we'd also, to touch Nakamura, you'd have to sue in Florida, and some of the chess.com people, I think, are in Connecticut. So we would get Byzantine. The second thing is, look at Hans Niemann's tournaments in the past few years. 8 months, I meant to say. And they've been fairly normal for a 2,700 player. And there doesn't seem, he's played in some invitational tournaments too. It does not really seem like he's been incredibly damaged. I mean, it's only Vacanze, perhaps. If he's invited to the Vacanze Challengers, then I think he has absolutely no case at all next year.
Yeah, no, Ken, you're right about the actual financial damages, but there are some other damages like defamation, for example, or slander, or some others, which in the United States, I think they're quite well, starting with Donald Trump. There could be quite substantial consequences.
Yeah.
I didn't say that that Carlson raped somebody like Donald Trump did, but there could be consequences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's interesting to me. There's a couple of things that, I'm against litigation in the chess world. I just think that there's ways to sit down and negotiate differences. But in this case, I think Carlsen demonstrated bad sportsmanship in the St. Louis tournament, where he got up and quit the tournament and allowed the alleged allegations of his opponent was a cheater to flourish. And of course, there was no evidence of him cheating in that game. And the people that have analyzed the game that I respect have said, Carlsen just didn't play that well. And to quit in a tournament hurts the arbiters, hurts the tournament, hurts the organizer. And I thought it was just bad sportsmanship. I'm a big Magnus Carlsen fan, but in that case, it was wrong. And there are FIDE, as Nick mentioned, FIDE is the World Governing Organization. There are FIDE processes to follow if you wanted to legitimately raise a complaint in the chess world. And to not do that, and to let the media run wild, which they did, and chess.com piled in with, harming his reputation. And did it lead to the loss of invitations? Probably. Is it 100 million worth of invitations? Obviously not. So, there's an absurdity on both ends, because there was a wrong done. There's no doubt in my mind. And can it be compensated? Probably, who knows how you would agree to what compensation really, honestly, and seriously would be. Invited right now, he's not going to be invited to any tournament that Carlsen plays in, and Carlsen's going to play in the best. So,
is Carlsen even going to play?
He's been playing.
He said he quit. He didn't even show up for the World Championship. Is he now coming back in action?
Carlsen did say that he didn't think he was going to play any in-person chess in 2023, except Vike and Norway chess one would expect. But now he's slated to play in the World Cup, and then there's also the Isle of Man tournament, the Grand Swiss.
Now he's not going to play necessarily only in traditional tournaments that are certain time controls, but he's playing mixed format tournaments. He's playing all sorts. He's playing traditional plus rapid plus blitz. So he's been very active still. And so these tournaments are to be invited to those that he participates in is wonderful. You get to play some of the best players in the world, and they get a lot of publicity. And to be excluded from that is damage. How much? I don't know. And would he be invited anyways? He's a 2,700 player. Probably. Maybe.
Yeah. And there's an old legal theory, and I think in Latin Demon, Abacus Injuria, I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's basically called a wrong without a remedy. And you learn that in law school. In other words, if you can't litigate all the wrongs that are out there, and a lot of wrongs, there's no remedy. And then also when they look at chess, and there's been court cases on this, it's up to the governing body to make the decision. In other words, the courts defer to FIDE or whoever is the governing body. They don't want to get involved. Look, they don't want to get involved. The judge doesn't want to listen to two chess players complaining about how the rules were imposed on them in a particular chess game. Frankly, the courts, I hate to say this, have better things to do, and they don't give a rat's rear that Magnus Carlsen jumped up, played one move, and left. They could care less. That's a problem for FIDE or a problem for the chess organizer, but it's not a judicial problem. So I think Hans Niemann, and you can also look from another standpoint, he got a lot of publicity out of this. I mean, he beat Carlsen one game, but let's say if he didn't do this, who would know who this guy is? I mean, he's some some 2,700 chess grandmaster, which today is a dime a dozen.
Yeah,
So, you know,
without remedy.
That's 50, yeah.
I don't know if he got the publicity he wanted because, you know, what's his claim to fame? Well, I was a known cheater back when I was 16 years old.
Yeah, right.
Or
So
something like that. Yeah.
So I can pivot to something, if you don't mind, to the resulting chess publicity. Is the news of the dismissal seemed to shake out some other stories, and most notably about the Global Chess League.
Which is ongoing, and Magnus is playing it.
Yes, that's right. So CNN had this story yesterday by one of their main sports people, Coy Wire. They covered the dismissal of the lawsuit, but now, I mean, the Global Chess League has been going on for a week. It's reaching the climax of the prelim round, so now is a good time for this story. But it's it's wonderful to see this story was linked off the front page. So it's wonderful to see a story like this on CNN. But I'm being a little cynical. They might have had this story covering the Global Chess League anyway. But I speculate that maybe Neiman lawsuit got people. Oh yeah, chess.
Yes.
We sort of forgotten about chess for a couple of months since the World Championship match. Here we go. Yeah, lots of things happening.
A billion fans. That's
A billion fans. Well,
yeah, make sure you pronounce the B.
Yes, that scaled the game to 1 billion fans. Well, I certainly agree with that goal. And I will say, Chess 24 was slower, notably slower today for me to load, and we've had a mini sensation, as you can see, Levon Aronian beating a Nepo.
Wow.
is that a real game or is that some chess problem?
No,
It looks like a problem. You're right, Nick.
it's a real game. And
That's a real game?
this plus if we're okay covering the Anand Carlsen endgame from a couple days ago, says something interesting about the nature of this competition. So if it's okay, I'm going to play through this game, which just finished.
Great.
It's a case of making something out of nothing, but you might also judge it a one-move blunder by Nepo. Okay, so topical line,
Yeah.
the one that goes into an end game right away. And around move 20, 23, I'm going to assess the position as, okay, the engine says nothing, but objectively, white has some things that white can press for. And that's the modality of the entire game. For instance, here, symmetrical pawns, but, white has a center blocking black's pieces more, and black's A pawn is more vulnerable than white's B pawn. So here we go. Let's gang up on the A pawn. All right, we got rid of one attacker there. Now, okay, we've blocked things. So black has actually played some good defensive moves at the cost of giving up the two bishops, mind you. Okay.
Right.
So, I mean,
because they traded queens doesn't mean they were in an ending. But as more material gets traded, they're getting closer and closer to an ending where the two bishops would seem to matter. But now you can trade one of them. So
you can trade one, so it's the one bishop advantage.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's still the one bishop advantage, and it's still the case that endgame motifs are dominating the considerations.
That's correct.
There's no middle game style attack here. Okay, so now white just jockeys for position.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like I don't understand what the plan is, if there is one.
The plan might be to make moves and let the clock take over. If these clock times are right, the players were down under 2 minutes. So, but as I said, it's a recurring theme. Black's pawns are more vulnerable than white's, or black's A pawn in particular. White's B pawn has not been seriously attacked. Okay, now it's being seriously attacked. Nope, it's not being seriously attacked. Let's trade rooks. We come back. We've still got the stuff going on. Black is now organizing for defense. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Yeah, your electrician has shown up.
My electrician has shown up. Yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to pause it. I'm sorry.
You're not a jerk.
Okay.
For you.
Well,
I'm recording a show.
I've got to say that Aronian has had some very good results recently.
But how can he win this with white?
That's a great question.
I mean, this is like a draw. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Needs
Nick.
a little help from his friend.
Who was his friend?
His opponent is going to
This
help him.
case, Napa. Like
Oh,
in
Napa.
Beatles song, with a little help of my friends.
Yeah, it's a Beatles song. Yeah.
That's Beatles song, and that's how it works.
Yeah,
This
because
competition cannot be won without help.
see, originally I thought, that he needed to get his pawns on the light squares so they could get a good bishop versus bad knight, but he never achieved that once he played.
Yeah, and there's
odd.
pawns on
Yeah.
both wings, which would favor the bishop, but it doesn't seem like it really matters.
Yeah, well, right now it doesn't. It doesn't seem that way.
Yeah.
So it goes bishop c1. Is that the deal?
Yep. So bishop c1 will actually, so white plays bishop c1. So
Right.
this is still jockeying. The funny thing, Engine said, slight edge to black in this position. But it still seems
Really?
like,
Yeah, see, I thought e5 would be good. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It still seems, I guess black has.
They're giving black a slight edge.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're meaningless because it's really equal. But
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I figured. It's pretty equal.
but it's saying, but on the other hand,
unwinnable.
unwinnable. But black is more forward, so the Engine's giving credit for that. But black still has.
Yeah, when I push my
vulnerable-
pawns forward, they get weak.
Yeah, black is still more vulnerable, and knights, the knights are not anchored. They're not on D4 or F4.
Right,
in this
right.
position. So maybe now, now the knight is coming to D4. Maybe,
Trying to.
maybe not. Okay, so now the Engine's going to say 0.00 for 5 more moves, basically. Here
Oops.
we are. Okay. Well, white won a pawn.
Oh,
Now
what a
here's the thing.
pawn. Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of changes the dynamics here.
Right, it does. It means that black has to do something to equalize this. Okay,
Right.
but white's rook is kind of trapped.
Yeah.
Right, so now we're going to repeat. No.
Yeah.
And now Nepo makes a 1-move blunder,
And which is?
which is on the next move, I think. Let's say no, a couple moves later. Okay, well that's a slip. Okay, so now
It's a natural slip.
it's a natural slip. I don't know why King H5 is better. Obviously, this game has to be analyzed more deeply. But the horror is, now black's probably legitimately in trouble. Actually, this is different from the impression that I had before when I was playing the game. Now black suddenly lost. It was Rook B5, I think, was the
It's a losing move. That's interesting because I might have played that.
Yeah, that's what showed as a definite.
But certainly dropping the A pawn for no apparent reason was the real way that black went wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
here's
3-on-3, and now it's 3-on-2, so you have
Now what?
chances.
Yeah. Now the Engine says that suddenly black could be okay again with Rook D8, though I don't know. After the trade of rooks, maybe white is winning this. Okay, I don't know if you have to. It obviously has to be looked at deeply. After that B4, suddenly you stepped into a pin. So there's one move blunder that spoils the game, and now after the loss of the exchange, it's obviously over.
Yeah.
So and wins in a few more moves. So that's a little sensation, but rewards the diligence of sticking with the position, and white applied little pressure throughout the game. Now,
that's interesting, because I didn't see I saw a lot of toggling back and forth, and I think he waited for black to make a mistake.
Yeah.
And I think maybe advancing the G pawn was a mistake. Just sitting back, I don't see how white could take advantage of that position.
Mm-hmm.
So
2,700 players aren't supposed to make mistakes like that.
I know.
Jim.
They don't against me, Nick.
They don't against me either. We don't play them enough. I guess that's the thing.
Yeah, that's
we don't play them a lot more. All right.
So do we have time to go into this game? Because
it's madness. Of course you do.
Madness. It ends anytime two world champions face each other. It's
absolutely.
Notable. And the other, we already did the other Anna and Carlsen game.
And a winner of French. I have my Watsons play the French somewhere. So
Carlsen is playing the French?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Carlsen is playing the French. And,
I think that poker thing has got to him too much.
Well, so this game.
Look
this
at
is
this,
a weird,
man. This is interesting.
Weird variation.
It is very interesting. The game remains strategically interesting the whole time. Okay, so you've got the queens off. And
there's no breakthrough on the king side, so the king has
No, you can't do anything.
And one thing I'll say is this is when I played over this game, I had the impression that the computer was reacting to too many ephemeral things. So you really can't judge a position like this, that you have to think in terms of the strategy the players are playing. And the question is, are there any entry points for either player in this position?
Right.
Like, can black get his bishop over to control the diagonal? Can black's king come through there? Can white's king waltz through d4? Is c4 a strong pawn or a weak pawn? All of those things have to be played out by tactical argument. If black can firm up by b5, by a6, confirm up b5 by a6.
Yeah.
Is that good, or is black's bishop bad?
I just love the black bishop. It's so strong.
But d6 is obviously the square white wants to control. But how do you get there? There aren't any ways to get the knight there. And
should white play a6? It's committal. It's a reasonable move.
I would probably consider it, and maybe play it, because
because otherwise it's black's game. You don't have a choice. It's almost like you got to play a6.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're sitting there hoping for nothing to happen to you.
Yeah. Well, white can still play a6 now, because there was a threat of knight takes f5.
It seems like black is asking white to play a6 and a6, and white is saying no.
Yeah.
And the reason must be that the a pawn would become weak.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
But would you really be able to lose it?
I know it's I'm not qualified to say.
Yeah. I mean, white's controlling a little more space. White's rooks are doing more than black's, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, if you play a6, the b pawn becomes weak for black.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So it's kind of like a trade-off, but
it is a trade-off, and he does play it eventually, but he was definitely being provoked. And so Carlsen's I'm not playing a6, but you go ahead and do it if you want to.
Right.
Now I'm going to attack it.
He's just saying.
But here's more computer weirdness. The computer wants white to almost play into checkmate. That's what the computer wants white to do.
I don't want to do that.
It doesn't make any sense to me. So maybe this is just a really strategically difficult position. So anyway, what I might actually play was knight e2, and now black firmed up. So we've got some strategic resolution. White, on the other hand, gets to dominate the d file, at least temporarily. Okay.
Interesting. I don't prepare my pawn structure. I keep the file.
Yeah.
This is it.
Whoa.
That is interesting. Whoa.
That came out of nowhere.
That came out of nowhere, and white ducked it.
He declined.
If
what happened? Sasha would take it because Sasha told me he's greedy.
Yes, Sasha would take it.
I would take it.
See, now here's the thing. Black is exerting some pressure. Maybe rook g4 is actually a real pain for white.
So the h pawn is weak, the f pawn is weak, and the g2 pawn could be weak.
But black's knight is no squares. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. How's the knight going to go anywhere? Well, I guess it could eventually get over there.
No.
Wow, that's almost no squares though.
But anyway, Anand ducked, and so now black got the same kind of pressure without sacrificing a pawn. He says,
is it this thing?
It's close.
So now the engine thinks that black is slightly ahead, but I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah.
But what is true is that, first of all, there are some junctures where white only has one move. So bishop d6, for instance. Well, I just hang. So so now we've gotten the rooks off. Black won a pawn, white got it back.
It's bishops opposite color, so it's a draw, right?
Right, should be a draw. But now the question is, does either king have a royal road to invade via the default?
Bishop opposite color just went away.
Yeah, bishop opposite color just went away. Yep.
Oops.
And in fact, the engine is saying that if white doesn't capture, then black is really going to take over with knight.
Right.
Drops the pawn. Got to capture that.
Got to capture. But still, you got the bishop is on the square of the pawn's colors. So what can you do as black?
Now here's the thing: if I play knight e2, I really have to try calculating this king and pawn.
Absolutely, yes.
It's because it's not. I mean, I guess the point is, well, no. Black's going to play b4, white goes king b2, black goes king b5, and I'm going to lose a pawn.
Yeah,
so I don't know. The 92 could be losing here. So anyway, white plays this. Now the engine says black is winning. Am I sure about this? Okay. Those are certainly, this endgame's gonna, now see this problem. Black's king is invading in the center, and white has a lot of potential zugzwang positions.
Black
that's
has no. Oh, I guess I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when he's forced to move away, then he can exchange the pawn and win the A pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
This
now,
is not gonna, see, there you go. That's not going to be good.
yes, it looks like
Because
black
the
making
A-pawns.
progress.
Obviously, you don't take care of those. So
And then what are you going to do? The
yeah,
A
it looks
pawn's
like
gone.
black is going to win this now.
Yeah, the A pawn's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, the A pawn is gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, but black
He doesn't
played
even
this
want it.
instead, invading.
Now that is weird.
That is weird. Yeah, king takes b4.
That's because he's a 2800 player.
Yeah.
Those 2800 players.
Yeah, take the A pawn.
Yeah, I mean this looks like it should.
That's how
be
your rating
lost,
goes up,
but-
Jim. You don't take the A pawn. 2800 player. They're going for the F pawn, baby.
Don't win the game simply. Win it complicated.
Yeah,
Right, exactly. There
but
you
the
go.
players were both short of time, and I'm going to show you a funny
The F pawn
remark
wants
by
the C
Carlson
pawn.
that I have queued up. Okay, well, white now gets to counterattack. I mean, white is pawn ahead after
This is
all.
why you want bishops, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why
that's
you
true.
want bishops. Yeah, that's right. White's knight is doing nothing, and the point is the counterattack actually sows the seed of black getting a passed pawn. Okay, so the engine, of course, says 0.00, but
You're just gonna take the F pawn.
only if white plays knight f1 check. Okay, and just holds
Really?
the position. Yeah, this is so. Anyway, so Anand plays this, hoping to make two queens.
Sure.
Yep. So okay, so have we miscalculated this? Let's see. B4.
This is all. John Fedoras told me once. It's all about counting.
It's all about counting. That's right. So now, okay. Now we get to the sensational part of the game. First, white
Oh, Lord.
sacrifices one queen to make another. Okay. And now here is where black has a really sang-froid move. Okay. So this is the position where
That's
The,
interesting because
yeah.
you're playing off the queen and king.
yes. And
Wow. I'm
Yeah,
wondering if I would have ever even considered that.
yeah, because black's going to play bishop d5 check and queen would check. And white can struggle around, but the fact of this pawn being hard is certainly there. And thing is, all queen versus queen with an extra pawn endings are winning for black. Because
Hey, Ken, Magnus told me he saw all this, by the way.
oh, okay. I don't know. I'll show you what Magnus said on Twitter right now.
Okay.
He said, actually, I had no time left and could not find a queen. That was about a move that's about to come up. So anyway, so black played bishop e4, which
Oh,
is enabling white to draw, but only if white finds the move queen
Yeah, queen
c3.
c6.
There's an important motif here.
All right.
If black promotes to a queen, mind you could also promote to a rook, but promote to a queen, then white has a perpetual check starting with this move or this move.
okay.
White's king is stalemated, and
Oh, how cute.
yes, so this is going to be perpetual check on the f2, e3. Doesn't matter where black's king goes.
Well, once he takes the queen, where's the stalemate?
So if he takes the queen, it's just stalemate. White has no move.
King,
And
king,
here-
I thought he can't go. Oh, if you take this one,
Yep.
is the B3 square covered?
yeah, by
By
the
black's
pawn.
pawn.
Oh, by the pawn. Okay, right, got it.
Yes,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay, you're right. So it's got that
Yeah.
cute
Yeah.
little thing.
So that would have held, and
Right.
the other reason it would have held is that
Unbelievable.
Those are knights.
after promotion to a knight, which happens in the game, then I
What?
guess black isn't together enough. Well, white is able to counterattack by taking this pawn, and black's not going to make a queen in enough moves. So
Okay.
so anyway, so instead, white played what seems to be the more natural move. White played queen d4, but this now is losing according to the engine. But wait, there are more twists to come.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't.
Now c3. Now why does it matter that white's queen is on d4 and not b6? Well, because on b6 you're attacking.
You can take the right.
Right. So now it turns out. So now white plays queen b6, and now white took the pawn. Now, this should be
It's
winning
simple.
for black, but wait.
You get that thread again?
Black played knight c8. Why? Now maybe there's a transmission error here, because queen c1 check is an obvious win. So, this,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
maybe I should doubt
One's
this.
gone. Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that could be a transmission error. But according to the game, it was won here. So in a drawn position, or white plays h6, maybe white's even win. Now it's probably drawn. So I don't know. I have to maybe look at the text of the
Yeah,
moves
he
again.
would have played queens. He would have queen with check.
Yeah.
You know,
So
and just win
Yeah,
the
but
game.
if queen
You're
takes,
not going to play knight c1. Forget it.
yeah. So I have to look and see. Maybe there's been I forgot to do this beforehand. Maybe there's a transmission error here, or maybe
Right.
both players were just so short of time
They're short of time, yeah.
that that it was things were dictated by
Yeah, just
Yeah.
move becomes
Yeah,
more
but
important.
why would a nod choose queen d4 over queen b6? It looks to me queen b6 is obviously a better move.
chess
You know,
24
except you're short of time.
often
But you had to see that stalemate too.
they often
Yeah,
fix their
sure.
game scores, but no, they still have knight c1 there.
No, the knight c1's that's wrong.
That's just got
That's a transition error, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
Who
they
knows?
meant queen c1.
yeah.
Pawn queen c1, right?
But in light of this was hugely entertaining, and a lot of people were captivated by the under promotion,
Right.
which was
As
a good
was
move
I.
when it was played. But on the other hand, it was filled with errors that wouldn't have happened if this were slow chess.
Correct.
So once
That was
again,
that was a blitz game.
this was game 15, game 10 plus 5 rapid.
Basically a blitz game. Wow.
So,
That's
so
quick
close
chess.
to blitz, even
Mhm.
fast as far as rapid is concerned. That's how this is being played. So there's the trade-off. It's hugely entertaining between two world champions, but
Former world champions.
former
Yes.
two former world champions. Well,
Right.
world champions permanently,
Yeah, like you're a president permanently.
in the enumeration. So anyway, right. So what do we make of that?
chess.
Well, I don't know what to say except the game was very entertaining, and I didn't know what to make of it, and it would require more study. Not only in the opening, which was interesting, but the middle game was interesting, and the ending was fascinating. And I think above my head.
Yeah, there's
Well,
a lot
yeah.
to unpack
Obvious-
there.
Anand simply cannot play against Carlsen. He lost so many games to him previously and nowadays, and just something is not clicking there. It's just okay. Objectively, Carlsen is the stronger of the two, but not to such a colossal advantage that he demonstrates over and over. Also, he demonstrates huge advantage over Nepal. He destroys Nepal every time there's a meet in tournament and match, and it doesn't matter what.
And one of the things, Sasha, I think your point is well taken, but Anand is a very good rapid player.
He is, yeah.
So, this time thing, you would think that although Carlsen outperforms most of the world, obviously most of the world, in rapid play, even the best, he's better than the best. But Anand, that was his reputation too.
That's true.
See,
So that was another decade ago.
I think Anand has a dilemma that he wants to somehow improve his score against Carlsen. And to do that, he has to win a game or two or three or whatever he can. But to win against Carlsen, you have to take risks. You cannot just
Not
position
advisable.
yourself.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
take risks, and Carlsen is ready for that, and he
Yes.
provokes him, and that's how it all goes. Same thing with Napa. He provokes Napa into all-out attacks or so on, and then takes him apart and so on. That probably would not work with players like Caruana, who would keep his cool. And if it's a draw, okay, he'll go for a draw. If it's a win, he will try to win for sure. And however, when we started to talk at the beginning about this lawsuit and then now talk about this tournament, it is obvious to me that Carlsen is on a mission to demolish the world championship title and having more tennis-like life in the chess world when there are several tournaments, different formats, like different clay tournaments in tennis and hard courts and so on.
Grass versus hard
And
court.
grass, of course. And the Carlsen would win probably majority of all these tournaments. On grass, he would win for sure. In the dirt, like French Open, okay, so he may lose a match or two or so. He's financially done extremely well.
Yes.
The 1,000, whether it's euros or dollars, it's not enough motivation for Carlsen to work for 6 months preparing to the match. Play match itself.
Right.
He would have to lose so many opportunities to play in all these little tournaments that he organizes and all that stuff. In fact, it's going to be a financial loss for him to cancel all his appearances, concentrate on the world champion, with all the risk still, in spite of how strong he is, there is still a risk to lose one a mistake, and a player like like Caruana, for example, he could keep a winning score until the end of the match, or at least try to do so. So it just doesn't pay enough. $10 million prize fund for Carlsen, maybe that would motivate him, in fact. But no, it's not motivation for him. And furthermore, it's not just purely financial consideration. It's you see, the existence of the title, which Carlsen fails to defend, it's a hindrance. It's kind of a disadvantage for Carlsen. So anybody can say, "Oh, you're a great player, but you're not a world champion." So you say, "You, I'm winning almost any tournament on earth there is to be, except this one, and this one is not going to last long enough because I'm, as a world champion and by far the strongest players in the world, ignore this tournament. So just cancel it. Just get it out and cancel." Now, with that, the FIDE is losing the major portion of its operational finances.
Yeah.
So that
would be added the World Championship match. Yeah.
Again, they're taking 20% of the top of the fund, right? So
They
they
have no
will,
other income that matches it. Yeah.
and FIDE is not making any money on Carlsen's tournaments, whatever he's organizing. So this is all coming down to money, money, money. You know how it works.
Well, I think Go ahead.
Carlsen's jealous of Anna Taylor-Joy, who made $10 million on the Queen's Gambit. So he was going to try acting and create a new show called The King's Gambit and see if he could make $10 million doing that. That really brought chess back. Was really that crazy Netflix.
Everybody's trying to help chess, including Neiman's lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's also
Neiman's lawsuit actually helped chess.
I'll tell you this, that show, The Queen's Gambit, I had a tremendous rise in sales. So the royalties I got were staggering from Chess for Dummies, just because of that series. But you look before and a year later, there was a huge spike in there.
Jim, it just shows the dummy is born every minute.
That's why Jim says.
Oh, look,
I didn't.
I own
geniuses.
Look, let's not deprecate it. I own and I read String Theory for Dummies. There is such a book.
There are a lot more dummies in that area than chess.
I could go get it. Yeah. So anyway,
String Theory for Dummies.
Yeah.
Again, I would like to thank everybody for participation in today's program, and we'll see you next week, same place, same time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and have a great week.
Yep.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.